10 years ago, back in the land of cheeseburgers and donuts, Annie didn't give a thought to what she ingested. These days, food with a capital letter, thinking about it, talking about it, preparing it, and ultimately gaining an unacceptable number of kilos on it, at least unacceptable by Parisian standards, was pretty much the obsession. In fact, the day before, she must have hit some kind of gustatory bottom when she bought the Bible de Beurre on an empty stomach. This was a cookbook solely devoted to butter, a Bible to its ode, no less. Last night, after putting the boys to bed, she had mustered the nerve to peer at the croissant recipe. Had she cringed when she discovered that those innocent-looking pastries she had wolfed down without the slightest suspicion over the last 10 years were essentially composed of 99% butter? Absolutely. Had this stopped her from jumping straight into the preparation of her own croissant? Apparently not. So maybe this was her therapy. Butter. She needed the butter, she reasoned, and wads of it. She needed the butter because she was grieving. That is, of course, if what she felt was indeed grief, and not rage. She preferred that it was grief and not rage that had made her gain 30 pounds and growing since the night of the accident. She preferred that it was grief and not rage that had kept her from remembering to put on lipstick or going to a hair salon in years. No matter how anxiously she stared out her window, Paris stubbornly refused to wake up. It was 6 in the morning, and there was no sign that daylight would ever break. Today, again, she'd awakened at 4, feeling restless and lonely. Lonely enough to seriously contemplate creeping up 3 sets of stairs and shaking the kids awake for an early breakfast at the crack of dawn. She was still in her bathrobe, uncombed, unwashed, but the shower would have to wait. The water pipes tended to scream like a cat in heat at the slightest provocation, and the kids needed their sleep. So she searched the walls and high ceilings of her kitchen for a task, preferably a brutal one, to occupy her for an hour. But the ancient tile floor was already immaculate, her collection of colorful flea market finds well organized on the open shelves. On another shelf, nuts, grains, and legumes arranged by color in glass jars did not need another rearranging. Chicken soup already simmered on the antique stove, and on the Carrara marble countertop were the 12 adorable miniature croissants prepared last night, all virginal and doughy, ready to pop into the oven and her mouth.